I don't really know what I believe, and I don't think I care.
Because if you have no need, you have no reason to listen to the gospel.
A full-time vocational minister.
There are a lot of people who are like more progressively Christian or grew up more progressive who are able to reconcile some of those things with their faith because they're not taught the world is black or white and those are your two options.
Christianity is like a Jenga tower. Once you remove the bottom blocks, the whole thing comes crumbling down.
Yeah, and like we're never gonna understand an all-powerful deity.
Hey, my name is Elijah, and you are listening to the Hopefully Wandering podcast. We are a group of two self-identified, deconstructed individuals who used to work as pastors within the evangelical church, specifically in a megachurch setting, and now have come to realize the quote-unquote errors of our ways and embrace the openness of life and are just along for the journey, learn about new things, talking to different people, gathering a wide range of perspective, whereas before we may have had a more narrow tunnel vision. Now, we're hopefully wandering through the wilderness of ideology and just chatting up life. Collier, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm Collier. I am the other co-host. I'm doing well. That was an excellent intro, Elijah. Thank you.
Oh, man. You know me. I mean, I've done enough Devos before offering time. You know, I can just pull it out of my ass.
That is how we do a lot of stuff. Yeah, most of it comes out of our ass, you know?
That's
right. You know, I think the church and honestly, school and college prepared us very well for pulling things out of our ass. It was like...
Do you remember the Fluff Club?
Oh, yeah. As long as you can make something sound convincing, then like that's all that matters. So
That's right.
Yeah.
we had a Facebook group back in the day. I mean, I think it's still on there with my old account, but it is a Facebook group of us who were in the same class in high school who would just share tips to make our papers due for English class as fluffy as possible. Change the font to like 12.1, 12.2, increase period size to like 15, make the margins slightly small. And I'm like, guys, we worked so hard to get out of it. We might as well have just typed it, straight up.
Yeah. No, really. Yeah, I was still too good at two shoes to do that too much. I was like afraid I would get caught. So
yeah,
but there were some good tips,
I think if we had turned it in virtually, probably we would have got caught.
Oh yeah, no, we probably would have got caught. We turned in paper ones. Yeah. Speaking of that, I've heard of this random thing, but I've heard of this hack that you can do for resumes for jobs where you like copy and paste the job description or like the keywords from the job description on the website. Paste that into your cover letter or resume and make it like white font that is like unreadable, like the same font as the cover letter paper on Microsoft Word. So you hide the font, but that way a lot of companies use like basically an AI like imager to scrape through thousands of cover letters, resumes to find the keywords. So it'll pop up on all those keywords, but the recruiters won't see it.
That's genius.
So, yeah, I saw that online. So like, don't blame me if someone catches you with that. But I mean, I guess if they do, like, what, you're not going to get the job, but that's fine. You didn't have it anyway.
That's right.
But yeah, so I might use that next time. We'll see.
Well, I was trying to think of a clever like transition for our first agenda topic for the day, but I didn't think of one. So I'm going to do a real clunky one.
Okay, let me hear it.
Hey, Collier, why don't we do that thing you told me about?
Hey, that thing I told you about.
Yeah, the game activity. It's not really a game.
Yeah, we can do this. So this will be a mini version of a bracket. So what I was thinking was there's a lot of celebrities who have sort of become icons to like the deconstruction community in some ways, or even if not, just famous people that were raised in or converted to Christianity or Christian faith and then left, and I guess have been at least somewhat outspoken about it, not necessarily like made their personalities revolve around it. So that's like the first group. Is we're gonna do like a little bracket, just top 3 for now, of like our favorite deconstructed celebrities. Now, to clarify, these aren't people who like are famous in the deconstruction sphere online and on social media. People that I mean, like our friend Derek Myers from Your Favorite Heretics. People that weren't as well known in like their field before deconstruction. These are people that like were celebrities, were fairly well known in their field, and then left the faith, or deconstructed, whatever, some kind of way. And then after that, we're going to give our top 3 hopefuls for current Christians who we are hoping this year, let's say 2023, we see
this
like
is
some
our
kind of
year
post announcement or something about it. Yeah.
Are you saying Derek wasn't famous before deconstructing? How dare you?
Oh, I'm sure he was famous, but he didn't have he and Rachel didn't have their like a couple 100,000 Instagram followers.
That's
that they
right.
do, or is it millions? I don't even know. They have a lot.
Hey, good job, Derek. You want to go first, or do you want me to go first? Because you have the bigger list, apparently.
Yeah, let's see. You know what? Okay. I'll go first. First one I'm going to say is one of my favorites is Miley Cyrus.
Oh, that's a good one.
A lot of the Disney crew was Christian. A lot of them were. But yeah, Miley Cyrus was very Christian, somewhat outspoken about that, I believe, in her Hannah Montana days. Kind of started to break out of the cage during her Can't Be Tamed era. And I thought that was so like risque and such a bad video. When I was little, like I watched it back a few weeks ago and it's tame. I mean, the song is It Can't Be Tamed, but the video is pretty tame, for nowadays, and for like considering how she's progressed, how just the arts have progressed. It's like,
yeah,
there's like not really any cleavage. I mean, it's like a big black wings, like that kind of could resemble demon wings if you want them to, just because of the colors of like darkness and scary looking wings.
The powers
but
of
it's like
evil.
it's not like overly sexual. It's not overly satanic. It's not like that evil. It's just like kind of from her Christian days when she was the pure little Christian Hannah Montana. That was a God-fearing little country girl. It was such a shock. So that's my number 1.
That's good. That's good. Mine aren't in any particular order. They're just 3. I don't even know they're my top 3, but they're 3 that I wanted to share.
Yes.
This was a suggestion from Talon and has become one of my top 3.
Okay.
Or one of my 3. Demi Lovato.
Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Have you?
I mean, similar to Miley Cyrus, like Disney kid.
Very similar, and that's what made me like pick it, because I had a like 4 or 5, and you said Miley, and I'm like, okay, Demi Lovato, a Disney kid. I know they were Christian back in the day. They had to go through the rehab, and then like they come out on the other side and like release this like celebration of them coming out as lesbian and all this, and an album basically like just saying, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want. Their newest album is killer. It's grunge.
It is so good.
It's so good. And it's whereas like you said, Miley was like more subtle about her embrace of this stuff. Demi is not subtle, like straight up just saying it for what it is. And sometimes I'm like, I kind of just like just coming right out of the gate and being like, I'm totally about this now. I don't care.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think her album was fantastic. Or I think
what's the album called, Talon? Nope.
Yeah, I know. I forget what it's called now. But yeah, Demi's album was like fantastic. It's called
29 is the one song I really like.
Holy fuck.
Holy fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so many religious themes in there too. Like done very artfully, and it's like not necessarily subtle, but it's not like super cheesy. It's just it's very direct, but it's like very very good. You know, it's done so well. Yeah, I love it.
It's not cheesy. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it because usually when people are so direct, they're kind of like cheesy about it, but she's just this is what it is, and I like it.
Yeah, love that. Yes, Disney kids. Shout out to all the Disney kids for all being Christian, like not now all not.
Are the Jonas Brothers? Are they still
okay?
Christian?
So I don't know if I was going to say this on my list. They were on the list that I wrote, but they weren't necessarily going to be my top 3. Joe is I'm almost positive not Christian anymore. I'm not sure about the other 2. I think Nick may be Christian, but I don't really know. I'm almost positive Joe is not, and like, yeah, he's awesome. Love him. Yeah, I know. I've got like a lot of ones that I really love. Maybe this is cheating. I'll just say, Boy Genius. More specifically, Julian Baker. I love her story of like, because she really wrestled with it. You know, she was like very into it, you know, and like through struggles with addiction and mental health, dove even further into it and like, you know, got into all the Christian lore, you know, like tried to dissect and figure out every single part of it that she could. So she like, you know, I think kind of similar to like how we did once we questioned things, like she just like dove straight in, like as far as she possibly could dive in. So I love like hearing her talk about it because I think she identified as some sort of Christian, like definitely progressive and deconstructed up until recently, and now I don't think she does at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I love the ache that you hear in her songs. That's all to do with that.
Absolutely. Back in the 2015 album that she released,
Sprained Ankle.
Sprained Ankle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, ironically, I was listening to that like back when it first dropped, and I like kind of picked up on that emotion that she was like talking about there, and it resonated with me, but I didn't understand why until like way later on. But her song Rejoice is like really hit me hard because she's like, I don't really care if God is real or he's not, but if he is, it doesn't really matter what he's like. He's going to hear me or he's going to not. It doesn't really matter. So why not just live life?
Yeah, totally.
So it's good.
All right. Yeah. What's your next one then?
So this is my question. Can it be someone who was famous within the Christian community too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that. No, for sure.
Because I just resonate so much with Joshua Harris.
Okay.
And I know he's like the poster boy right now. I mean, or at least was when the whole Mars Hill shit was going on.
Yeah, because John Cooper like made his first big like dick statement back then when Josh made his. Yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah, I just resonate so much with Joshua Harris simply because he did his best. He did what he thought was good, supposed to do, but it ultimately wasn't, even though he had the best of intentions while releasing I Kiss Dating Goodbye, pastoring the way he did. He thought that he didn't have any malice in his heart towards others, unlike I believe some pastors are right now, especially within this whole evangelical community. I really do think they're selfish bitches. But Joshua Harris was a genuinely kind guy who did not want to hurt anyone, yet when he deconstructed, he was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. He didn't know how to make up for it. He was freaking out. And feeling alone and filled with regret is really relatable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah, I mean, and I do feel bad for him too, especially like we were maybe on a similar path. I think it's lucky that our leaders and our mentors, I look back and one thing I'm grateful for, like for like our mentor, for example, our worship leader, he was really nervous when we started getting so much power or leadership at like 18. Like I remember him like honestly being a little glad that like that the church that we worked at that closed down right after I started working there, I was telling him about that. And I think he was kind of glad that like that we weren't the head worship pastor of a church anymore because, you know, Joshua Harris's story, one thing that's tragic about it is like that he wrote I Could Say Goodbye when he was what, like 18 or 17. Like he was young, you know, he was little when he got thrust into the fame of being like, wow, look at this young man's heart. I mean, what does that do to a kid? Like where I am now versus where I was back then, like I can't imagine what that type of like praise and adoration and fame would have gotten me, you know, as someone that's trying their best. Like I believe he was, you know, he thought he was trying his best. He thought he was going to help a lot of people, as we both did. And I think if we had got famous when we were 18, if we had been like a poster boy for the church, then that would have screwed us up too. We would have done some very harmful things. So yeah, no, I get you, man. I resonate with his story too. Yeah,
for sure. Dude, when I was okay, one more thing. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
This just to illustrate an example of how confident we were in our abilities. My freshman year at Ozark Christian, I don't know if I said that before. I did now. Anyways, I told the director of the worship program, he's like, hey, we do an evaluation when you come in as a freshman and you come out as a senior. And you want to share, and he just asked like some introductory questions, you know, what do you play? What is your confidence level in this instrument? How do you feel as a pastoral leader? At the end, he's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your abilities as a worship pastor to do this full time now? I said 9. It's like an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
First week in college.
Damn.
And I'm like,
I know.
I thought I was the shit.
Oh, that was your freshman year, not your senior year.
No, my freshman year.
Oh shit.
I hadn't even. I just only been in the program a few weeks.
Yeah.
Like 9.
That's
I
so
barely
funny.
need this.
No, honestly, I was like almost the same way too, which is why I went to Bible college in the first place. I was like, you know what? I've got the majority of what I need. I just need some more formal theology training. You know?
That's
like,
right.
I thought I was almost there.
That's right.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so my last one. Deb, this is tough because I actually like a lot of deconstructed people. Let's see. I mean, I guess, well, I can say this is my number one spot, maybe. Like, I feel like it's got to go to Rhett and Link.
Oh, yeah.
As a pair, you know, just for what they did to my personal story, their impact on that, and just they were like in a unique position where they were very well known by all Christians almost, or Christians that loved YouTube, because they were very popular YouTubers. I mean, some of the most popular, and they were very, very outspoken about their faith. You know, they like worked at ministry. Yeah, and so the way that they have continued to be very honest and vulnerable and real about like they're struggling, and that they didn't just go like, hey, we're rich now, so fuck the church. You know, it wasn't like a kind of crazy thing. It was like just them saying like, I've done this for years. I mean, they've done this for like almost 40 years, you know, however old they are. Like, and they were like, this is hard because I'm throwing all of this away. Like everything,
Right.
like I'm throwing away, you know? So yeah, their story impacted me and so many people so much. So it's probably my top one. I don't know. I may share some more honorable mentions, but what's your last one?
So my last one is not so much as a well-known person, but the organization that they worked for is extremely well-known. And you may or may not have heard of him. Let me pull this up real quick. Do you know who Marty Sampson is?
That name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Marty Sampson was a Hillsong songwriter who has deconstructed. And I'm going to read you a list of songs that Marty has helped write or got credited with. Oceans.
Okay.
I
shit.
Surrender. What a beautiful name.
That's how I know it. Yes. I know his name from seeing it at the top of the chord sheets that we print out from Planning Center, like seeing the written lyrics and music by. Yes.
Who You Say I Am, King of Kings, Broken Vessels, Here I Am to Worship, So Will I.
So was this recent?
Within the last 3 years.
Some of those were written in like what, 2019, 2019, 20.
It was like
2020?
2020. Oh, but
Wow.
no, all of those, those are all 2019 songs or earlier. King of Kings, King of Kings came out in 2019, but
Okay.
I mean, they probably wrote it like 2015.
Yeah, true.
But Marty was one of them, not really one of the faces for Hillsong like United, but one of the like instrumentalists, worship, one of the more behind the scenes guys who would just help write the lyrics. And he just one day came out and he's like, I feel like my faith is as shallow as my songs, and I don't identify with anything going on within the church right now. And then ever since then, fallen off the face of the planet. Not heard from him ever since.
Damn. Wow.
And so you look at these like chord charts and you're like, oh my God, none of these people are Christian anymore.
Yeah.
But they still sing the songs in the church.
That makes sense. Yeah. Damn.
So
I know. I feel like that's a lot of times the way it goes is like the ones who write the songs that are so like honest and raw and like show such good emotion and show such like depth in understanding intellectually and with your heart. Those type of people, those songwriters are always the ones who have deconstructed now. Because I mean, like that's
genuine ones.
Yeah. I'm thinking of that one couple. I forgot their name. Why can't I think of it? Oh my God.
I know.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
exactly. Beautiful things. Gungor.
I'm gonna say Gunder.
Gunger. Yeah, I mean, like they had some songs that like hit you really deep, and I don't know.
I mean, John Mark McMillan is a stone's throw away from deconstructing too. Like, his songs are out there.
Yeah. So with that, I think that's a really good transition into the next part. Then, yeah. Oh, one thing funny. So this is just a random honorable mention. One thing I saw as I was trying to research Christian celebrities was Anne Hathaway. She was raised Catholic. Apparently, she was like dead set on being a nun when she was 11 until she was like, I don't know, 15 or so. I'm not sure exactly when she left Christianity, but yeah, she for the first like adolescent years of her life, she thought she was going to be a nun. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so we could transition to hopefuls. Let's see.
Our wish list.
Our wish list for people to either come out, I don't know, against the church or against Christianity, or just at least say that they are questioning everything.
yeah, that they don't have all the answers in life.
Yeah. I'll go first. My number one that I have been wishing for every year for the longest time is John Foreman from Switchfoot.
You want it honestly, so bad.
I want it so bad. Yeah. No, because his lyrics are the same thing, dude. Like, I mean, just like we were talking about with Marty Sampson and Gungor and all of them. Like, he gets to the heart of it so well. He's always been a little like afraid to call himself Christian, and to be, he was like, he's one of the ones like almost started that sort of Christian meme of like, we're not a Christian band, we're Christians in a band. Like that was that was John Foreman, was one of the guys that would say that type of stuff. He was like, I don't see us as like being boxed in by this, and we're just following Jesus the best way we know how. And so he's always been a little bit more deconstructing anyway. He's always been like trying to parse the good from the bad,
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like his whole career and stuff, he's been tossing out more bathwater, and at some point I hope he throws out the baby with it too, just take the fucking baby and just shoot it, throw it out.
Get it out of there.
Yeet it out of the tub, yeah. So yeah, John, please do that. Let this be your year, 2023.
Name it and claim it. Name it and claim it.
Name it and claim it. I'm manifesting today.
Yeah. I have three who I plan to say, but like really any of the worship leaders. Like I think I sent you an album or an EP from a Bethel worship leader, Hunter G.K. Thompson. I don't know.
I think so.
He had the Halloween punk EP. You may or may not remember.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes, I remember that. Yeah.
if he deconstructed and made a punk band, like,
Yeah.
but
I know.
my number one is right now Kyle Heidelman.
Yes. Dude, what would that do? Oh my god.
The whole city
That
of
would be-
Louisville would lose their shit.
Yes. That would be high profile, man. Oh my god.
Just imagine just like the backlash and people freaking the fuck out.
Dude, better yet if he does it like live on a sermon.
No.
He just preaches a surprise sermon about it. Oh my god. Yeah. He's probably listening right now. So hey, if you're listening.
Anyone from the Idleman family right now, if you were anyone related to Kyle, just yeah, I don't know. What to
Yeah.
say. Did you see the Hay Staff family Instagram account?
Oh yeah, dude, that's actually a really funny. I wanted to hate it honestly because I thought it was gonna be like, I thought it was gonna be Babylon Bee humor, but it kind of is, but it's kind of like Babylon Bee humor from 15 years ago before they were full fascists, like alt-right.
Yeah,
you know,
they're
because
nuts.
like now Babylon Bee is just like, it's just making fun of minorities basically. But Babylon Bee used to be poking fun at each other. You know, it used to be making fun of weird idiosyncrasies of Christianity, the funny little things that we do in the megachurch that make no sense. Like that's some funny humor, and that was a funny page. Yeah,
It was really funny. My favorite one was Kyle using Dave's sermon for Easter. Just like, we now have 17 campuses instead of 2. You know, it's funny.
Oh yeah, that was like this Easter, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's funny. Okay, yeah. So my second one is Selena Gomez. Is she still
Christian?
I mean, I don't know what's going on in her heart right now, but she definitely was in the doc that she aired this year on Apple TV. My Mind and Me.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, she's not like she might still go to Hillsong, and she's seen every once in a while going to Hillsong NYC
Okay.
or Hillsong LA or whatever, wherever she is. And she was in that scene for a long time. So she's been involved with Hillsong, and grew up Christian, you know, has been Christian her whole life. Now, I don't know. I mean, there is like the cultural thing with her being Latina. I know that there's like a different cultural aspect there that also like kind of keeps you in the faith too. But I really would hate for her to keep her association with Hillsong, you know, because fuck that place and fuck how homophobic they are and just how
Fuck that
like
place.
corrupt they are. Awful. So yeah, but I think she's so cool. Like other than that, like I feel like she's such a cool person, and I would love it if she makes some kind of statement or just like starts talking about her journey away. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. What's the doc called?
It's called My Mind and Me.
Okay. Is her newer music worth listening to? Like, she writing about this stuff?
She has a song called My Mind and Me.
My Mind and Me. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's been like acting a lot recently, you know, doing like the Only Murders in the Building and doing that. So I don't think. Yeah. Okay. So that was just a single. She hasn't released like an album since 2020.
Okay. I'm gonna put it in the queue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, so that one's about like her struggle with like severe mental health stuff, you know?
Okay. Save the song. Boom. Okay. Similar vein to Selena, my transition.
Okay.
Carl Lentz.
Carl. Damn. Yeah. Because apparently now he's back preaching at the at the Tulsa Church, whatever they're called.
Transformation Church.
Transformation.
Which,
yeah, that's what it is.
If anyone, literally anyone, should look up Transformation Church's Easter production.
Oh my God, dude.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
I sent it to you, I think.
Yeah. No, that was awful, man. It's
I don't know what was going on. I couldn't even tell. But it was like a Rihanna concert for some reason. Like,
yeah, which like some people would hate that because they hate like popular music and whatever. Like, I don't hate it for the production value of the music. I hate it for the waste of resources and the fact that Michael Todd has given, so he's been featured in a lot of Believe It or Not videos.
Yeah.
There's one specifically that he did recently, Believe It or Not, on tithing. And Michael Todd has preached several egregious sermons about tithing.
Yeah.
You know, saying like, if you got nothing, if you're destitute, give it to the church. Meanwhile, not only is he buying like billions of dollars of clothing, like we talked about last time, he's also like that show. I mean, how much did that cost to put on, like that production? So much.
The rapper that came out was wearing the, I think it's Balenciaga big red boots.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
He was
Those new
wearing
ones.
the big red boots.
Oh my God. How much are those?
Unbelievable amounts of money, dude.
Yeah.
But back to Carl, like, mega church figure, had this whole scandal back in the church again, and an even shittier church than Hillsong somehow. And I'm just like, it would almost be picturesque for him to be like, I'm sorry, guys, I don't believe in Jesus anymore. I hurt a lot of people now. Like almost like a 12-step program. Like, oh no, I hurt everyone, so I guess I just have to stop being Christian.
You know, yeah, and it's good that like we would hope that he would do that rather than like trying to capitalize on it and be like, hey, guess what? Follow me in my new self-help book, which he probably would do.
He'll do that because at the end of the day, he doesn't worship God. He is a money marketing man, okay?
Oh, yeah. He wants to be famous, yeah. I get it. I mean, I've talked about here, like, I still kind of want to be famous, you know? Like, I want to perform. I want to be known. And I would have, I had to fight that every day myself as a Christian. And if depending on the situation I was given, if I was thrust into fame, like we talked about with Josh Harris, I would have chased the fame, I'm sure. Like, I don't know. Who knows? But it's an easy trap to fall into. But I think that's all he wants. Yeah. Like, I agree. I don't think that he gives a shit about the faith, honestly. I think he just wants the attention. I think he just wants to be friends with celebrities, you know?
Yeah. Wants to be friends with Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez. He wants to be in the in crowd and have the money, and faith is the easiest way for him to do it, which is a terrible thing.
Yeah, it is an easy way to do it. You don't even have to be that talented.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is my last one. It's also sort of in a similar vein. Now I've got other ones more from my personal life, but
I mean, Kyle was personal.
Celebrity wise, yeah. No, so I have some like that, but I think it would just be fucking hilarious if Kevin Sorbo came out as not Christian. Can you imagine?
No.
Dude, he's like the champion of pure flicks, you know? He's in every God's Not Dead movie. He's in every fucking Christian horrible movie.
Oh my God.
He's saying that Christians are persecuted. He's a big Second Amendment guy. Oh my God. If he came out as questioning and
they'll take all the films down.
Yeah.
He was the professor in God's Not Dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one who got killed. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, I think that'd be so funny. I mean, I also think he would be just as insufferable as Carl Lentz if he did, not be a Christian. I think he'd be like, I feel like he's a narcissist, so I feel like he would be like horrible as a atheist, but it'd be so fucking funny.
Yeah. So he'd be an atheistic Trumpy then, atheistic GOP guy.
Yeah.
Which there is like this like weird atheistic like everyone sucks, so I want my guns and my money.
Yeah, I have seen that a lot actually. Yeah, because like it's very individualist. Yeah, and like it is funny how some atheism. I mean, I think the old, or were they called the new atheists? I don't know. The atheists from like 20 years ago, whatever that sect was called. There was like a lot of straight white men who were very a-holes. I don't know. They were just like,
yeah, it's more like
they were
libertarian almost.
yeah, but yeah, a lot of them were libertarian. A lot of them voted for Trump, I think, because like I don't know, they took atheism to a like
Selfish.
maybe yeah, very selfish way. They were like, yeah, if nothing matters, then like hell yeah, I'm gonna be selfish as fuck because why wouldn't I be?
Absolutely. Well, Collier, hear me out. For my
Okay.
last one, hear me out.
My mom.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
imagine.
Oh my god. Yeah. No,
His
that'd be
whole
so funny.
brand is based on this like conservative Christian value, which I don't even know if he actually believes that. But if his brand came out as he doesn't believe it any longer,
Yeah.
everyone would freak out.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Because I feel like he can be like ambiguously Christian right now and keep that brand. Like he doesn't have to truly believe. But if he came out as like either incredibly liberal Christian or just like, or well, if he came out as atheist, I guess especially if he was atheist, that would ruin it. You know, like I'm thinking that there are people like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro. I mean, Ben Shapiro is religious; he's Jewish, but like
That'd be
clearly
interesting
not Christian.
too.
But like Jordan Peterson, you know, has like a not really Christian but sort of Christian type of thing going.
Yeah.
But like,
So
yeah, no,
what?
Tucker. Yeah, but Tucker, yeah, especially has built it even more around that. That would be so funny.
Yeah. Oh,
That's a
man.
good one.
It's just in my wish list, but it won't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. Well,
Mhm.
this has been a fun exercise.
Yeah. If you're listening and you have any other like either people that we may not know were Christians and are not, like please send us those like celebs or famous people that you know of that have deconstructed, dear listener. Or also people who you would hope to see
Yeah.
have their own kind of story like us.
We should do a poll. We'll do a poll on the day this releases.
Oh, yeah.
So-
No, that'd be great. Yes.
that would be fun. Well, you try to transition this, Collier. I did the last one and I failed.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about celebrities. Oh, yeah. Well, I mentioned before, so I was looking up for this game. I was trying to do a little bit of research, and I had a very hard time. And the reason I had a hard time was I was looking up on Google famous celebrities who have left the Christian faith, or Christian celebrities who deconstructed, or people who used to be Christian and aren't. You know, just looking up different phrases like that. I could maybe find like 2 articles that weren't from a Christian website.
Yeah.
And even those ones were saying, hey, here's 25 people you might not know are religious.
It's like a BuzzFeed.
It was, yeah, like BuzzFeed type of stuff. Yeah. But a lot of them were from like Christianity Today or Belief Net or
The Gospel
Christian
Coalition.
Answers or GotQuestions.com or yeah, like they were all from Christian websites. They were all from Christian perspectives. One of them had a list of like people who had left the faith or had like, it was a very, very small list of people who had left the faith. And they were like, so at the end of the article, they said, so these people have all, publicly gone against Christianity, but we hope and pray that they will come back. They were like, yeah, it was really hard to find. I didn't even find, the only one I found for my list that I named was Anne Hathaway. That was the only one I didn't know of.
Yeah.
Everyone else, like I just knew of from other stuff because it was very difficult because Christianity owns I'm not saying like conspiracy theory, not like they own the media, not that type of thing, but I mean like they are the most popular media. You know, like if you're looking up Christianity stuff in this country, like where we are using our Google algorithm, you're gonna get majority Christian websites, Christian people talking about Christian issues. Like it was very frustrating, honestly, to not be able to find any data on that, or just any lists. Like I wasn't looking up serious research, just silly lists of celebrities who used to be Christian. So one, it reminded me that like this deconstruction sphere is not very big, and if you're not like on my Instagram feed or on my TikTok feed, like you're not going to see as many of these people. All the people, I don't know. You're not going to see as many people if you're not like already in that area. But also, it just annoys me that time and time again, we hear so much about like Hollywood hates Christians or hates religious, and the media is against Christianity, and why does all of America hates Christianity, and we're so persecuted as Christians. No one like understands us. Everyone hates us. We hear that so much, and it's just simply not true. Like if you try to find out things about Christianity, it's very, very hard to find quotes from especially contemporary famous people that are disparaging of Christianity. Like you can find, there's one quote from Ricky Gervais where he says like, as an atheist, you believe in only one more God than I do. You don't believe in the rest. Like there's one
dick,
Ricky
though,
Gervais
I
quote.
think.
Oh no, he is. Yeah. I think he's pretty conservative too.
What?
Yeah, it happens. I don't know. He's British too, so
that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so like if you try to look up things about like disparaging Christianity, it's kind of hard to find, honestly. Like especially on Google, like on the main pages. If you look it up on TikTok, on Instagram using like hashtags of deconstruction, you can find it. But if you look it up on major news sources or like Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, even like these places that are very liberal, very not Christian, you're going to be very hard pressed to find things that are like disparaging towards the faith.
Why do you think that is?
So I just think it's because it's the most popular religion, you know, and people don't want to offend people. Like Christians are the original. They invented cancel culture, for one thing. Like Christians have been boycotting shit for so long, you know. Like I remember when I was little, we had like a conversation about if we were going to boycott McDonald's because they said something in support of abortion, boycotting Target for using gender neutral restrooms, boycotting Starbucks for whatever. Christians love to try to truly cancel things. And yeah, so I think the Christians have, since Christians are still the majority in the country, I think they've done a good job at twisting the narrative and being able to say, look at us, we're outsiders, we're persecuted. And there's theological reasons of why that is, which I can get into later, possibly. But I think the reason to your question, Elijah, that we don't see as much attacking Christianity is because even people who aren't Christian recognize that like something like 80% of people identify as Christians. And if you make fun of that religion and if you truly do disparage it, you're probably going to get canceled. Your show's going to get pulled. You're not going to be able to find work as an actor or singer. Like it's hard. Like people who come out as Christian as celebrities, I think are largely way more celebrated than people who come out as atheists.
Kanye got a lot of traction. I mean, a lot of traction when he came out as Christian or whatever. Not saying it's positive attention, but he got a lot of attention for it.
He did get attention, yeah. And the people who didn't like it, I don't think were trying to cancel him. And the Christians were like all about it, though. They were like, hell yeah, we got a famous brother in the house now. Like we got Jesus. What's the Jesus is King or Christ? Whatever the album's called, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, and I'm trying to like think of how I want to phrase this. But the thing is, I think that it goes back to a fearful mindset, a fear-mongering mindset, because the way that Christianity has kept in control for so long, especially like in the United States, is through fear-mongering. Because even though all these people like who are working in the media may not believe in Christianity or have Christian ideals at all, they have to present in a way that doesn't challenge those ideas. Otherwise, they'll get canceled. And the canceling is what keeps the narrative in place. So
Yeah.
I just look at, like, even if you just look, oh, this is what kills. I've been real heated about this, Collier. I shared a video today that in the state of Tennessee, they tried to pass a bill that would ban divisive topics being discussed on college campuses.
Okay.
And that you can report professors who discuss critical race theory, gender equality, just class, stuff, all the stuff.
Yeah.
They were trying to
don't say gay 2.0.
Don't say gay 2.0.
Don't say anything.
Don't say anything on college campuses. And the old white Christian Speaker of the House says, I'm Christian, I only believe in facts and logic. And the people who were like those two African-American delegates who got outed over the gun control stuff were the main ones against it. And they were just saying, like, hey, the United States is founded upon principles that only allowed rich, white, male voters the eligibility to have any poll in the country. And you are continuing that legacy by not acknowledging the sins of our forefathers. And the only way we're ever going to make America great, because it never was, only way we're going to be able to redeem this country is by acknowledging what happened in the past and getting rid of this, like, fear-mongering mindset that, we can't let these anti-Christian values be talked about. And they were shut down. It passed like 80% voted for this bill.
God damn.
I know.
Yeah.
And so, just
dude,
persecution porn.
Exhausting. No, totally. Yeah. That's something with all these slates of bills, like the well over 400 that have been introduced against, like, trans people and trans identities, along with these other ones, like you said, like this recent one in Tennessee. One thing I've seen from some of the different trials or different debates that I've seen in the legislative bodies is that these lawmakers are alluding to or just using the Bible and literal scripture verses and all that as, like, the foundation for laws, which, one, isn't constitutional. It's in the Bill of Rights, the separation of church and state. Like, it's very unconstitutional to use direct, like, scripture or direct faith to create laws. So, like, they don't even give a shit about, like, the laws of this country that they love. But also, like, it's very frustrating, to see that happen, to see people constantly be saying, well, my faith teaches me this and the Bible says this, so that's why I'm making this law. When, I don't know. I don't think, it's always easy to deflect this way, but I think it's a good comparison for Christians to think of what would happen if a Muslim said the same thing. If they're like, well, I am a Muslim who believes in this thing. Like, say, I don't want to categorize all people who believe in Islam or all Muslims this way, but, like, for example, if they were trying to bring similar laws like are in Iran right now, if they were that form of, like, Muslim nationalists, and someone like that got into our government and said, like, well, yeah, I think that we need to, like, enforce head coverings. I just think that that's what it needs to do because in Quran verse this, it says this. And, like, this is why, like, I'm making this bill.
Yeah.
Like, they would get, honestly, probably, like, fucking assassinated in this country. Like, they would get booed out of the house, immediately expelled. And yet Christians can sit here and do that all day. I don't know if you saw the one in Florida of this legislator saying that because of his belief in the Bible, he's voted against some trans rights stuff because he literally called people with trans identities and trans allies demons. He said, these are demons and demonic forces at work, and I'm not letting these monsters, like, run around my country that God gave or whatever.
Who cares?
Yeah. And so, like, not only are they saying, like, horrible stuff, but they're, like, using the Bible for it. And again, that's why Christians are full of shit when they say they're persecuted, because all of these laws are based in nothing but their scripture, but the Bible. That's the only basis for these laws.
I don't even,
besides power.
Yeah.
But, like,
I mean, not that I'm disagreeing with you, but I don't even think that these principles are really even based off like an accurate view of Scripture.
Oh no, yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I think of Scripture being twisted.
Yes.
It's a very poor understanding of Scripture, but since they can say these words were said by Jesus, therefore I'm going to enact this hateful bill. Yeah, and like then it gives you immunity. Yeah. So.
Oh my God. It's just, it's so frustrating. And we need to have Bob, my supervisor at work, on sometime to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because
totally.
He's very politically active. And we talk about this at work sometimes. Just like, this episode's not been what I thought we were gonna talk about, like gun control on this episode, but instead we're talking about politicians dying. Anyways, it's hard not to feel helpless or just like hopeless in the midst of all of this, because you and I are very outspoken for change. I believe that I have voted in a way recently to try and enact change. And back when I was like really Christian and not really even conservative anymore, like the people who like I went to church with scared me into voting for like really conservative candidate. I mean, I know that.
No, me too.
Because they were like, if you don't do this, you are betraying your Christian values. And I sat and thought about it. I'm like, I don't want to like disappoint these people, even though like if they say this is what it's that fear mongering mindset made me betray what I truly believe to vote for a candidate who's terrible. And so when you sit down and you really look at stuff, it's like, what do I do? How can I really enact change when it just feels like people are even in Congress now saying, like, calling them out, saying like, you're a piece of shit, you are lying, you're manipulating, nothing they can do.
Yeah.
We just got to wait 30 years for them all to die, Collier.
No, it's frustrating. And the one piece of hope I do keep coming back to with the dire state of like politics in the country is that I think it does show like the fascist uprising we're having with the people who are in power, literally just appealing to fascism, genocide and shit, and like you can say that I'm like fear mongering or whatever, that I'm blowing it out of proportion, but I'm really not. This is like we're in like a worse place than what 1930s Germany was right now. Like it's or a similar place.
Yeah, it's on its way.
Yeah, so not saying the same exact thing is going to happen, but something similar might happen. But what I do appreciate is that I think that they are flailing a lot because they know that they are going down. That they know that they're on the losing side now. So I think that's why these laws are happening so much. Is now it sucks if they all get put in place and then we have to go through the formal process to try to remove them all, and like that can be very hard. And then they can keep control with a small number of people. So like that's concerning still. But it gives me hope that they are seeing the massive shift in just generations, in ideology. And they are terrified because they know that they're going to lose,
Yeah, they are on the losing side and they're freaking out.
Yeah. So like, I guess it could be either good or bad. Like if they snap too far and like do enact full genocide and start killing everybody, then like that's a possible outcome, I guess, which would suck. Yeah. But hopefully before it gets to that point, we can like, I don't know, go through some kind of different channels. We can like do something a little bit more peaceful to get that ideology out,
Yeah. This is our message for the listeners of the Hopefully Wandering podcast. Just try and survive for another 10 to 15 years and things will get better.
I know. I hope
just
so.
Try.
Hope so. Yeah. Well, speaking about politics, I know we did want to touch on gun control, and not even that, but also like the thoughts and prayers sentiment. Bless you. And kind of what Christians, the Christian tie to the Second Amendment. But yeah, I know you had some thoughts on that. So
well,
you want to go ahead?
If you're okay with it, I want to talk about like why this popped up.
Yeah, sure, sure.
You and Michaela, like my heroes. You were my heroes right there.
Yeah, so as most of you probably listening know, there was a shooting that happened in Louisville, which is our home state, our hometown. Has been several since then, actually. It's horrible. But I think because it was so close to home, it was especially hard. And, you know, we live away now too. But so we were just being flooded with social media posts about literally just fucking thoughts and prayers, or just prayers, you know? And so our old church posted like a prayer guide, and they were like, here's how you can be praying. Pray for the families, and pray for the city, and pray for this, and pray for this. It was like, pray for 4 things. And they were like, yeah, this is sad, so pray. And that's just really been pissing me off so much. Just like that sentiment has been pissing me off for so long, but especially now again, and since it was so close to home, I was like, okay, this is so close to home. Like, your people who died probably went to your church, and you're still insisting that you're insisting on inaction, you know?
Yeah.
So Michaela did it first. She was pretty pissed off. I think she was off work that day and just like home alone, and she commented on like their Facebook post. It was, I forgot what she said exactly.
Yeah, she's
let me see if I can find it real fast. But she commented on their Facebook post, and
it was so
like,
funny.
yeah, that's not doing shit. Like,
because all the comments were thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
and then
so they
Michaela
post this, and then everybody's like, pray emoji, Jesus, please help us. So then Michaela said on the post, she said, no thanks, I'd rather do something to actually help this stop. Maybe you should ask your followers to take action and not just sit back and watch. You have the power. So she posted that on Facebook, and then on Instagram, I commented after her. I commented on the same Instagram from the pastor in the church, and I said, sure, but it's been decades and prayer hasn't helped. Maybe we actually try taking action and demanding change.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I feel like it's not even like we weren't even that ruthless as we could have been. We were just more like, it's just,
yeah.
It's annoying. No matter what you think about prayer, even if you believe in the power of prayer in some ways, it's been so long, over 2 decades, and we're still in the same, or well, in a worse place than we ever have been with gun violence, and we have done absolutely nothing about it on any type of like legislative level, like especially federally. There has been nothing to combat this. We have not tried anything as a country. The only thing we have tried is thoughts and prayers, and not saying that it's the church's fault, because the church isn't the politics, but as our earlier conversation, Christianity has such an influence on culture that I think that they've convinced people that prayer can work. And so like prayer then just becomes an easy scapegoat. It becomes a way to say like, I don't want to do anything about this problem, but I want to feel like I'm helping, so I'm going to pray, you know? And that's a cynical way, but like oh, you're fine. If I'm going to be charitable even towards Christians and say that prayer does work on some kind of level, I mean, obviously it doesn't impact legislation. Like that's just obvious, but like,
not at all.
If it works to bring comfort, if it works to bring healing, that's cool. At this point, I think it's irresponsible to urge public prayer and to keep on publicly saying, oh, just pray, because then what that does is divert the conversation away from actual change and what we can actually do. And then everyone just says, well, we can pray about it, so that's that. Nothing else we can do. God's going to fix it, I guess. Like, he's clearly not going to fucking fix it, because we've been asking him for decades and decades, you know? Nothing's changing. So yeah, I do think it's harmful. Even if you do believe prayer is powerful, I think it's very harmful to publicly post about praying after things like this, and to publicly urge people to take the action of prayer, because then what that inspires is to take no action in any other way.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you. You know, the Christian body is supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus. They're supposed to be Jesus incarnate on earth. And just like Man, I feel like I'm preaching now, Collier. I'm about to sermon. I'm about to sermon up in this bitch right now.
Do it.
Okay,
Sermon up in this bitch. Yes.
okay. Seriously, what was Christ's example? Did Christ simply say thoughts and prayers to the widows and orphans? No. You're going to take care of them. You're going to do what you need to do to make sure that they have what they need provided for them. When Jesus saw injustice happen in the temple with the tax collectors, the money collectors, what did he do? He didn't simply walk by and pray for them. He turned over tables, okay? He did it. And so, yes, they need to pray. And who knows? Maybe that will have some sort of spiritual divine impact. I don't think so. Maybe it will. But guess what? There's also some very practical things that could have a real change in society if all of these megachurch pastors would simply try and leverage their congregation that they already have a terrible influence over, simply to be like, hey, can we just pass some common sense gun control to save people's lives? I mean, like, the bare minimum. They can mobilize an
the bare
army.
minimum. Mm-hmm.
But they don't.
Yeah, totally. I mean, because common sense gun reform and legislation like has somewhere around 80% agreement among all American people. Like, especially if you phrase it in a way that's not gun control, if you phrase it in a way that says like, hey, federally, we should have these few things like background checks, that, you know,
mental
a
health examinations.
Mental health examinations, like follow-ups, like stuff like that. And a much more limited ability or like outright no ability to buy like AR-15s, for example. Just some very, very small steps like that. Like not even saying guns are taken away, just very simple things like having federal legislation that makes it a little bit harder for someone to buy a gun. Everyone is in support of that. Like 80% of America is in support of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like the church would also need to start teaching, especially like, this is gonna be a hot take, like rural churches with older generations are gonna have to be taught not to be so hateful and skeptical, which is a big old stretch. But Talon was telling me about this earlier, and I got while we were recording this podcast, I got a ding on my phone. Breaking news: New York Times. An 85-year-old white man has been charged in the shooting of a black teenager who had mistakenly gone to the wrong house in Kansas City, Missouri. So he was going to pick up his brother at this house, knocks on the wrong house. I don't know, because he's confused or given the wrong address. No one answers, so he kept knocking, not wanting to know where his brother is. 85-year-old man opens the door, shoots him in the head. I mean, there's nothing more.
Yeah.
And it's just because it was a black kid knocking on his door. He shot him in the head. And somehow he's actually still in the ICU, not dead yet. But regardless, you've got to start working from a top-down level to unlearn those systems of hate and racism and just skepticism, or nothing is ever going to change.
Totally. And that goes back to what you were saying about the college bill in Tennessee, how Justin Jones, I think, was, or whichever one of the Justins in Tennessee was like you were saying, talking about how
Jones and Spears, I think, is what their names were.
Pearson.
Pearson.
How they were talking about how all we're doing with these bills is enabling repetition of the sins of our past, you know, and it's such it goes with, I mean, like you were saying, with the hateful or bigoted old people or gun laws and people being afraid of those. It's like, it is very connected, and a lot of the reason that a lot of those like hateful, horrible, just ignorant ideologies do exist is because of a lack of education and because of a lack of reckoning with our past. And that's something that should happen. Like we should be like so happy to learn about the awfulest of things that our ancestors and our near ancestors have done.
Yeah.
Because that should help us to have a better society.
It should.
Like I can almost guarantee you nothing like Hitler is going to happen in Germany again, because they talk about it so much and because they require so much, shame, and they require so much like learning and education about it. Like, not saying that the Germans now are responsible, but they're saying like, hey, these were your ancestors. These are what they did. Own up to it. Let's visit Auschwitz together, and let's cry about it. Let's weep for what our people did, And I'm not saying that they're not going to have any problems. I'm sure that Germans have a lot of issues too, but like
whole lot less than we do.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to commit that same issue again as long as they keep teaching about it, because everyone is going to look at what happened in the Holocaust and say, oh my God, like we will never, ever let it get to that again.
Yeah. But
yet we almost are at the point where pretending slavery wasn't bad. Like, I've seen several things recently where people are, again, using old like Daughters of the Confederacy talking points about how a lot of slave masters were really nice and a lot of people actually loved working in the fields and had a good life. And like, it's just so untrue. But since there's no education that we're allowed to talk about it, I mean, we're doomed to repeat it.
I think it was, did you see the John MacArthur clip talking about slavery?
Oh, I have seen that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, just go look it up. John MacArthur talks about the benefits of slavery for poor people.
Yeah.
And about how it's biblical. And I watched the clip and I'm like, how the fuck is he still in ministry when you are spewing that same hatred?
Yeah.
So
no, and so many people still like revere him, and even if they disagree with him on that point, they still think that his like contributions to theology outweigh that, and that we should celebrate him.
He's not a good guy.
No, I mean there's so many clips of him that are awful, encouraging abused people to stay with abusers, encouraging well, I don't know. Yeah, so much. He's awful. Yeah, but
what do we...
I don't know, I guess...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to tie it back to what we were talking about with gun control and about like... I don't know. I mean, I think that one of the things that is unfortunate is that Christianity is the vast majority of people here, and it is annoying to me, honestly. It's more annoying than anything that they are still allowed to claim persecution in any sense and allowed to claim that people don't like Christians, because sure, maybe in some social media comments you'll get backlash for saying things about Christianity, but none of the press is going to go after you, for being a Christian.
No, never. And it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
It's very unfortunate.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to see, like, it's something that we do often with the podcast is like, what would you have to say to like our different audiences on this topic? Like concisely, because I want to talk to people who are in the faith, who are the main arbiters of this stuff, like such as senior pastors, leaders in the faith. I want to talk to Joe Schmo Christian bro. And then to those who have deconstructed. Because I think there's three very different messages that I would want to present to them.
Sure, totally. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For definitely a Joe Schmo Christian, I would like encourage them to try to recognize their privilege, and just try to do an experiment where you see if you can... Like, I love doing things, but when I'm trying out new worldviews or whatever, I love doing like practical experiments where I will pretend I have this worldview and then see if it makes sense, Like for a certain amount of time, I'll just try to look at everything and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to close off the part of my brain that believes the way I do right now. And so, for example, if you're a Christian, try to like shut off the part of your brain that thinks about like either persecution or what you've been told about that, and just see if you can envision the world in which Christians are privileged, and just start looking for it, see if you can notice stories, notice coincidences, or like see if you can find the privilege that Christians have in this country, whatever it may be.
For sure.
I think, that's a good way to just see things.
And I don't think that with a lot of them, they have ever, you may have never been aware that you would identify like that. You may have never even seen that you are taking part in that privilege. Because I know that, at least with myself, maybe for you as well, Collier, I didn't even know. Just for a second, consider it.
No, I bought into it too. Yeah, I thought that the secular world was the domination. Like I thought that the secular and the world, as we called it, quotes in church, was the dominating faction of especially this country's society. So I thought Christians were like a minority group. I just didn't ever I didn't question it. I guess I just figured, yeah, we're outsiders. Like the culture is something different, but. Yeah, I mean, the more you just look at it, the more that maybe they're not Christian to your standard. Everyone has their own standards of what they call a Christian, but they're Christian nonetheless in name and in a lot of action. That they are adopting the Christian identity. Yeah, and no, I don't even know what I would say to like pastors, perpetuators, but I mean. Assuming that they are well intentioned,
because I don't. Yeah, if they aren't well intentioned, I mean, they know what we think of them.
But one thing that I thought of when you were mentioning about Jesus, how Jesus led, taking direct action. A common pushback to that would be that Jesus and the Bible encourages individuals to be charitable and individuals to like act in what they have. That communism is like good for the church in Acts 2, but it's not good for the government, stuff like that. But so in general, if your reaction to like Jesus taking action is to say like, well, like he's encouraging individual action and not legal action. I mean, I think you're wrong because I mean, what little we know about him, I don't know how much he challenged Rome, but also Rome was not a democracy, so he had no foot to challenge Rome. But the direct authority over him, I mean, this is taking the Bible as like literally true, but taking the Bible as historically accurate, the direct authority over him, the religious rulers of the day, he was trying to change the religious laws, the religious makeup.
Yes.
He wasn't even trying to like tear it all down. He was trying to change it and reform it. He was basically saying like, these are ways that you people in charge are systematically oppressing other people, tax collectors, or well, not tax collectors, they were part of the oppressors, but like you're oppressing the poor, you're oppressing the disabled, and I want you to not do that. I want you to use your power that has been given you by the state of Rome to enact change. So I think Jesus was very politically active in the way that he could be, because obviously you can't be active in Rome's political landscape because it was a dictatorship. So yeah, if you're going to use that point to argue against action, like I think we should use whatever action we have at our disposal, following the example of Jesus. Because so look at what that action can be. I don't think the basic action is prayer. Like even if you love prayer, that's great, good for you. Please pray after these events. Awesome. But like I said earlier, I just think that, encouraging only prayer as the action is very, very irresponsible. I saw several churches, I think it was maybe Middletown Christian Church, posted something where they were like, pray for Louisville, but also prayer is nothing without action. Like visit our site to look at these actions. And they had like just political type of action that rallying for change, rallying for common sense laws, stuff like that. That's a very easy thing that Southeast could have easily done. You don't have to be a progressive church to say, hey, pray, but don't only pray, action. Call your legislatures, sign this petition, do something to try to change the dire situation.
Why do you think they didn't though?
Oh, I think because, I mean, the cynical part of me is, it's all about the money, dude. It's all about like, their largest donors. I mean, they've got so many Republican legislators going to Southeast, honestly. So like they got big tithing donors that are that would get pissed off and probably leave if they even suggested hurting the Second Amendment in any way,
sorry guys, Moochie hopped in my lap and he's not a real cuddly boy, but for some reason, every time I'm at the computer, he just wants love. So, yeah, I totally agree with you, because I think that even like personally, they probably would feel that common sense gun control, for example, should be in effect. They're not as conservative as some people would like to think that they are. But the problem,
Southeast or
senior leadership at Southeast, for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part, I can't say for everyone. They're common. They're definitely somewhere in the middle rather than super conservative. However, the moment it's taboo to talk about politics in church, because the moment that you do, you will alienate half your audience. And it's just saying to me that Southeast Christian Church, I mean, I guess not just Southeast, but just me personally, I think from the outside looking in, it just comes across that they value membership and money over real change for our nation and for the protection of the widows, orphans, minorities, and those who need to be cared about.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
No, totally. Damn. I like it. Yeah. Like, and I don't even think you have to get overly political with a lot of stuff just to talk about like helping out in a situation that's horrible. You know, like I feel like if you don't want to comment on politics that much in church, that's fine for the most part. But when it comes down to like to systemic oppression of people that are helpless, I think that's not really politics. That's just like decency and morality. Like that's trying to be a protector of the least of these, which is like supposedly their whole mission, you know, as churches.
You don't have to endorse a candidate. That includes
like, which that includes like gun stuff. It's not saying like vote for candidates necessarily who are going to enact gun change. It's just like enact some kind of change right now with whoever you got right now. If Mitch McConnell can fucking sign a bill, you know, we don't even have to get him out to have something to change. Because we're losing people, you know, like, I mean, guns are the way that the majority of children die now in America. And that's
terrible.
Easily preventable. Every single one of these mass shootings got their guns legally. Usually almost like not necessarily the same day, but very often the same day. I mean, this guy in Louisville, he got his gun. He decided to shoot up his workplace and went out, applied for the gun, waited like the 8 days or whatever, and then did it, you know? That was it.
That's where I'm like,
I agree with you.
The church should invest more within like the mental health area as well. And I don't even think, like, obviously the mental health of their own congregation, but like a big way that I think that the church could really benefit is open a therapy clinic open to anyone and pay for it. Just pay for it overall, because you need to find like a big tool of outreach would literally just be like, hey, we have a whole system filled with licensed, trained, professional mental health counselors and therapists. Anyone you know who is struggling, having a hard time, can go see them. We will pay for it. And don't have an agenda. Don't have like
like make sure they're licensed by like the actual not like the Biblical Counseling Alliance, like the actual like
the state legislation, whatever the national code is, not just a pastoral counselor. Or I was doing an assignment the other day and I saw there was like a licensed professional sex addiction counselor, and he was not even like licensed. He was just like, oh, I just tell people porn is wrong and I'm on Psychology Today. And I'm like, oh God.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's wild. But like people who are licensed with the board, don't make them to where they've got to reveal all this. Don't make them where they have to have an agenda to come bring people to faith. Just someone who like works on people's mental health, because I do value like the common sense gun control too. But my thing is like, how did their heart and their mind get to that place where they wanted to enact that harm? What kind of life were they given where something snapped and they wanted to kill people? We need to nip that in the bud now.
Sure. And it is mostly white men. A lot of them probably Christian, honestly.
Yeah, who won't go to therapy, who are like the number one people who won't go to therapy.
Yeah. No, totally. No, I mean, I'm with you. Like, I mean, in my opinion, I think that the like gun reform needs to happen first.
Yes, agreed.
But I definitely agree that they need to work in tandem. Yeah, like we have to address the root as well. But yeah, I think that at least we have some Band-Aid solutions that will work better than nothing, for now. So like, why not put the Band-Aid on it as we're trying to fix the root problem,
It's like a step-by-step process, because it's like, okay, this needs to happen right now first. And then you move on to the root cause of it. Mm-hmm. So it's like a freaking tourniquet, okay? Like, you're bleeding out like crazy. You got to stop the bleeding. Then you can deal with like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. No, totally. I agree.
So,
yeah, I definitely agree with that.
What do we say to those who have deconstructed, who don't identify with faith, who are in the minority of political spectrum of the like internet, who like are outspoken and feel like their voice isn't getting heard amongst the drowning voice of the fake persecuted?
Yeah. Man, I don't even know, because I'm like trying to talk to myself.
Yeah, I know. What do we do?
Yeah, I mean, I do like to, as much as it can be really difficult, I do think that there is capacity for change and better understanding in like every human. So if it's, within your like mental and emotional capacity to have conversations, I think having some just reasonable conversations, about offering new perspectives to people, especially people that are close to you. If you have people that are close to you that are supporting things that are going to hurt people, I think that's something where, like, especially if you're going to remain close to them, you have to have a conversation. And if you can handle it emotionally, I feel like it's a good thing to try to have conversations, like not necessarily like yelling at them, but just some kind of offering a new perspective.
Yes.
And the only reason I'm saying that, like, it's tough because I also like really want, it really frustrates me to have those conversations, and I really want people to just not believe that at all. And it's hard for me to like sit with them in their ignorance, in my opinion.
Oh, you said
but
it.
Like, yeah, or even just like, yeah, I mean, some of the stuff, it's just, it can be difficult to sit in those conversations. It can be difficult to have those dialogues. But again, I'm just thinking back to, at least me, if other people in the world work at all like me, like I had just so many small conversations over so many years that have led to what ended up being radical change. And usually it wasn't one conversation. It was just people I respected telling me their perspective and giving alternatives to like my arguments. So if that can happen for me, I believe that it can happen for other people. I think that people do have the capacity to engage with other thoughts. So like trying to have those conversations is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And like, I think that there can be an element of virtue signaling to like social media posting, but I think that social media posting can be really good about that, especially if if you're sharing like well thought out or heartfelt or various different perspectives on the topic, like sharing ones that appeal to people's emotions and appeal to logical reasoning or appeal to stats, sharing all that type of stuff. It can be really good, because if someone's watching you and they don't agree and they're like, God, I hate this person, like Collier keeps fucking posting about gun control and that's so stupid. But then maybe one of the things that I post or repost or whatever will like, it'll make them question a little bit, and then that question, they might keep pulling that thread. So I don't know. That's the best I got right now, I guess. What about you?
This is something that I've had to like have a conversation with others about. So I think that now that I have embraced a attitude of skepticism towards in general in life, I don't take things at face value just because it's what I'm supposed to believe or supposed to think. Like, I live skeptically now.
Mm-hmm.
I am way more logical than I ever have been. I take into the research into account. So here's the problem, Collier. I think I'm right about a lot of things because I've went through such a radical transformation. I selfishly think I'm right. Everyone does. But to all of you deconstructed people who think they're right, have some empathy for your old self. For people who are in that space. You thought you were right, not selfishly, but just because you were passionate about it. So there's a lot of people, I'm not talking about the people who are willingly enacting all of this hateful legislature. Yes, you can cancel those people. You can be mad at them, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of vibe, because the average Christian believes that they have everyone's best intention at heart, even though I know that they don't, and you know that they don't. They don't know that they don't. Have some empathy, have some sympathy. Don't come at them guns a-blazing. Like you said, Collier, present fact, present well thought out arguments, put the ball in their court. Let them change on their own time, because if you pull the rug out from underneath them, it can have a really bad effect.
Yeah. I think it's definitely easy to be too like guns a-blazing when you're entering those conversations. And like I have, and sometimes maybe it is warranted, and that's fine, just depending on what situation. But if you do like once, especially if it's someone you care about, then like definitely, like the best method is to go about it slowly and go about it with empathy, like you said.
Yeah. It's really
I think
hard.
it's a yeah, it is. I mean, I think like one thing you said was like about thinking you're right, and about like people like your past self thinking you're right too. I think it's a great practice for everyone to consider that they could be wrong about things, and it's especially like to sit in conversations that are uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like sitting in that discomfort means that you have to adopt that uncomfortable person's worldview, because you definitely might not have to. But like, I think the ability to listen to someone, or over social media or whatever, like to read posts and whatever from somebody, and not just immediately write them off, but then be like,
yes,
okay, like where could be a truth in this? Like, this is making me uncomfortable. Why is that? I think it's a good way to like look at life. It's a kind of deconstructed way to look at life, not to just immediately fall back on your own arguments, but to accept that you could be wrong and it's uncomfortable, but be like in that uncomfort.
Absolutely. I mean, this is my confessional, Collier. Gun control is hard for me because of like the really conservative background I came from. Like, and I think a lot of it is rooted in fear, because at the end of the day, no, I don't want the fascist government to come and take control of my life. Yes, I want to be able to protect myself. And I personally think that is legitimate. However, I've got to look objectively at this. And just because me, myself, am not going to go out and, shoot an innocent person, doesn't mean that the privilege and benefits that I get to benefit from aren't a really bad thing for a population in society that is making mass shootings every day.
Sure, yeah.
So,
which, I mean,
I gotta look at it.
That's the thing. Like what I'm saying we should do right now, this instant, is like nothing radical, just the basic. Just the very basic laws that make it a little bit tougher to purchase, and like a little bit safer, a little bit harder to access,
Absolutely.
I think that's like so basic, it's like not something that's too radical,
I agree.
I'm also struggle beyond that, because then it gets really complicated, and like you have the whole like line argument of like, where is the line?
Right. But
so I don't think that the entire issue is simple, but I do think that our action right now is pretty simple. We should enact like a couple of the laws that other countries have enacted that have worked,
Absolutely. And all I was saying is that like, I noticed that I have a fear in me. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm taking what you said. Like, I want to look at why do I, like, my initial thing is like, because at one point I was so libertarian. I'm like, I want all my rights right now. Why am I averse to that? Is it because I feel strongly about this, or am I also afraid?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Totally. I mean, I think that's, and like, I think that's great. And I mean, thanks for like sharing that too, and sharing like your fear there, because that is like something that's, I mean, it's good to hear that like people like you can wrestle with those things, and not be super black and white about the issue, or like you're taking the time to try to figure things out. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess the one caveat I'll say with that sitting in discomfort is I don't think you have to do it with the likes of Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Especially if you're someone that like finds yourself, I mean, if you think you're a pretty like moral person and like a harm reduction type of person, like, I'm not saying that you should sit in discomfort with everything. Like, you shouldn't listen to Nazis and fascists,
No.
and try to see the truth in their arguments.
No.
But like, so that's a caveat.
Yeah.
Is maybe like, at least try to figure out if you think the person's heart is somewhat good, and like, if you believe that this person's coming from a standpoint of wanting to help people rather than wanting to sow division or get control. But like, there's a lot of different ways that people think you can help people, and a lot of different ways that might work. So if you think the person has like the general people's benefit at their heart, then yeah, sit in that uncomfort.
Yeah,
definitely. Like, listen to them, even if you disagree.
Yeah, you don't have to like, with this whole argument, you don't have to be like, hey, I'm wrong about this, but just have sympathy for others who,
yeah, sure,
who think that way at least. So, all right, that's enough soapbox for me. I'm like,
I know. Yeah, this has been a little more soapboxy episode, but I don't know. This is something that yeah, I mean, it gets us angry, because it's too real. We're not even talking about future realities and abstract beliefs here. We're just talking about people's lives that are being lost every day. So like, it's frustrating. It's a frustrating topic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why we're a little bit more soapboxy probably with this topic than with most.
Yeah, we like, and you and I have discussed this privately a lot. Like, we worry about being two, or at least two formerly cishet white guys on the internet starting like a podcast together. And like, Taylor showed me a clip the other day of like
high value males.
High value males.
Alpha males.
And it was a clip. It was a lady who took a clip from these white guys on TikTok who are like, do women even have hobbies? Do they even have interests? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Dude, I know. It's like, no, I mean, even though I identify with it, it's like, I totally agree when people make fun of the white guys with mics, like, it's like, get those mics away from those white dudes, because yes, there's just so much bullshit that goes on.
If we need to be canceled, guys, please cancel us. We will listen.
Let us know. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you have any media recommendations, or do you want to say anything else on a similar topic before we wrap up?
No, I need to take a breather now. Media Rex is a good vibe for me right now. Let me pull up my Spotify. If you've got something, go ahead and hit it.
Okay.
I've got two.
Okay. So I've been just like listening to the new Boy Genius, the record, like nonstop. So if I haven't shouted that out, I know I've shouted like probably all three of them out and the band several times, but like, yeah, it's just so fucking good. It's amazing.
Good.
Very good. And it's got a lot of like, it's got some religious themes in there too. So, yeah, it's cool.
Love Boy Genius. And all the artists separately.
They all separately. I mean, so Lucy Dacus was on Dirty Rotten Church Kids. Go listen to that episode as well. It's another rec. It's really cool. She just talks about her her kind of story, journeying through faith.
It's awesome. So the less serious one, T-Pain, on top of the covers.
Wait, is it him doing covers?
It's him doing all covers.
Nice. Okay, wait, I've seen some of these on TikTok, I think.
And he released an album of Tennessee Whiskey, Don't Stop Believing, Sharing the Night Together.
Oh my God.
It's so... Some of them work better than others, but it's so funny.
Yeah. I gotta listen to that. I mean, from what I've seen, like the clips I've seen on TikTok, he's got such a good voice.
He does. Give him a listen. But my more serious one is a little more niche. Skylar Accord, True Viridian. Skylar was the basis for the hardcore band Issues, and currently, because Issues is on a hiatus, long story, he is the touring bassist for 21 Pilots.
Oh, okay.
He just dropped his own EP, and if you give it a listen, it's a really weird mix between R&B, hardcore, and electronic. It is the most unique album I have ever heard stylistically. So very, very
I love
good.
that. Okay.
And
yeah, I love it when bassists do their own thing. It's usually so good.
Oh, phenomenal. And the whole album is just about him exploring his true self. And so like, who is he really? What? And similar to like, I don't really vibe with 21 Pilots style anymore. But the thing I always appreciate about T1P is that they weren't afraid to explore the dark places of their mind. And that's what this album is. Not celebrating, but just exploring that.
Nice. Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Oh, wait, I've got one more that I just remembered.
Bring it.
This just to do a little bit with politics and not confronting our past well. There's an episode of Throughline, the NPR podcast, called Throughline. It's a great podcast in general, but there's one. There's an episode. It was re-released on February 2nd of this year, and it's called The Real Black Panthers. It's just a good overview of like the Black Panthers. And it's a super fascinating history. Like, so just research them in general, but like that episode gives you a really good overview. And honestly, I feel like if you research the Black Panthers, it kind of tells you everything you need to know about what the United States government thinks about its citizens. So that's another podcast suggestion I have.
Well, Moochie, do you have anything to say?
And there's the boy. There's a little boy.
Look at how like dead he looks. Bro, look at this.
He's so quiet. And he's chunky.
He's a chunky boy.
He has put on a lot of weight in this past year. He was always such a skinny little guy.
Oh, he is a big boy now. I'm like, should we feed him less? But he I'm literally holding him like an infant in my arms, like cradling him.
Oh my God, he's so sweet. I miss him.
Yes. He's more introverted now with guests and stuff. Nachos in their face, but he's slowly getting back to it.
Yeah. Good.
Well,
all right.
Is that a wrap?
Well, awesome. Yeah. Until next time.
Check us out. Give us a good review. Check us out on Spotify.
Yeah, check us out. Leave reviews.
Yes, Apple Music.
5 stars, please.
Yes, it's 5 stars. 5 stars only. Apple Music, Spotify, Google, Amazon. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
Yes, please interact with us. We have no interaction, and we really want people to interact with us, so please do.
Yes. Go check out our poll. We got a poll going right now for who's your celebrity deconstruction wish list. Go check it out on our Instagram.
Yes.
We'll do something.
Yes. Yeah. We'll put up the ones. We'll do a poll of the ones we talked about on this episode, and then we will also like have a write-in box for like either favorite deconstructed or wish list. So
yes. All right.
Yes.
See ya.
Bye.